Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Gideon. I'm a freelance filmmaker and cinematographer based out of Berlin. And today I want to talk about a product that I really wanted to love, which is the Moment camera case together with the Moment VND filter. But in reality, I have to say that I'm honestly quite disappointed with the product. And after testing it for like real filmmaking use, I'm definitely going to return it. But first I'm going to talk about the expectations that I had for this product before I ordered it. So when I ordered the case, I was looking for something that could really turn my iPhone into a real camera that I can use for certain angles, for certain shoots, for like behind the scenes content, stuff like that. And all of that without having like bulky rigs and unnecessary accessories, something that still make it able to like fit into my pocket. So what I expected was a clean everyday case for daily use as well as filmmaking use, a good or like a very strong MagSafe connection to work well with MagSafe accessories, an elegant ND filter solution, and honestly like a product made from creators for creators, like a creative focused piece of gear that allows for filmmaking use. And I'm not even like talking about like high-end filmmaking workflows, but just in general, like just like a smooth and easy way to use the iPhone as a camera as well. So let me start with the positives. So first of all, I have to say that the ND filter is great. Honestly, it's not perfect though, but it's a really nice product. I really like the simplicity of it, the minimalist design, and the way it doesn't add a lot of bulk to the iPhone in general, but it still allows for a natural motion blur. It's like a regular VND. You have some issues with cross polarization and the X pattern, which honestly I expected, but that's something that I can deal with because that's a thing with most variable ND filters. Unless you don't crank it up too high, you're going to be fine with that. And I overall really like the idea of this. And I find it really interesting that this is really the only solution on the market for this right now. But yeah, that's the main reason that I went for the Moment case. So the second thing that I really liked about the case is it has this slide up functionality here. So the case actually has like a cutout here, so it doesn't hold you back from like sliding up to your home screen and like using the iPhone as it's intended. And I don't really think any other case has that, so that I like from the beginning. I really enjoyed this feature. It's just like a small detail about the design, but I think they incorporated it really well. But honestly, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything I liked about this case, which is very unfortunate. But now I'm going to talk about the things that I dislike or that really disappointed me. So the first thing that I really don't like is the MagSafe compatibility, but the magnets aren't really strong. And that's very unfortunate because I intended to rig this to maybe a car or to MagSafe clamps and stuff like that, and what I found is that the magnets are just not strong enough. Compared to my Spigen case that I use on my iPhone, you could easily remove the iPhone from the MagSafe accessory, which is just something I didn't expect because the other case that I have is like a €20 case and this one is 60. So I once mounted the case, so I once mounted the iPhone with a suction mount to the exterior of my car, and the moment I closed the door, the iPhone fell off. That didn't happen with the other case, so that's very disappointing to me. Then the next thing is the slippery material. So I like the overall haptics, but it is very slippery. It doesn't really provide enough grip, and although there's some texture on the back here, I think it just doesn't feel as good in the hand as other cases and regular phone cases. It is a premium case, so I expect it to look like a premium case, and it doesn't do that like after minimal use. What I like about it though is the material on the inside of the case. It seems to like really protect the iPhone. But now let me talk about the worst thing about this case, in my opinion. The worst thing about this case is how much the bottom part of the case protrudes. That is bad on one hand because it just makes the phone bigger than it has to be. The biggest problem about this, and for me personally it's the deal breaker, is that it doesn't really work with a range of USB-C cables or adapters. And that really is where Moment missed the mark for me, because what I thought is that the Moment creators really thought about how people was going to use this. If you put an ND filter in your case, you're probably also going to use an SSD to record in the best possible quality and also to have the option of more storage. But what happens here is you can't really fit anything into this USB-C port because the cutout is too small and also the bottom part protrudes too much. So what I usually do is, I have my SSD, and then I have this 180-degree USB-C adapter, and that allows for adding the SSD to the back of the phone like this, and now I have like 2 terabytes of fast storage that I can record to. And I've tried multiple different adapters and it doesn't work, but I can't really live with not being able to connect external storage to my phone. And also the main reason why I can't recommend it to anyone, because I think if you put the effort into using an ND filter with your iPhone, you also want to record externally, and yeah, you don't really have that with the Moment case. So this kind of leads me to the end of this video. So my last section is kind of my advice for Moment, for the next generation of this case, because I actually really want Moment to succeed with this case, because I think overall the idea to have this as an iPhone accessory is great and it should work. So make sure that the case works with all kinds of different USB-C cables, adapters, external SSDs. Just ensure external SSD compatibility across the board. So the next thing that I would want Moment to add would be just much stronger MagSafe magnets, so that you can actually trust that your phone is safe when you bring it into certain environments. So my next feedback would be to just change the material so that it's not as slippery, make it a little more grippy, and just to make sure it like feels good in the hand, because I think this case would also like benefit from this. And when changing the material on the bag, also maybe choose something that doesn't look as messy so quickly, because it's a nice case, and I also want the case to feel like that. But with this, it kind of ends up feeling cheap after a very short period of using it. And then my overall feedback would be to just test this case the way it will be used by people, right? So I think if someone invests into this because of the ND filter, they don't want to make sacrifices on other points. The way it is right now, I can't really recommend it, especially for the price. I can, however, recommend the ND filter, but it doesn't work without the case. So I hope in some future iterations, Moment can work on that and address these problems, so that this is like the clear winner when it comes to like having a low profile ND filter case solution that works well with the iPhone. That's it. Thanks so much for your attention, and see you guys in another video.